I'll let you know. All right, we should be live again. All right, everyone, we are back on. This is Top Signal. We just had some connection issues, but we are back live, and we still have Mert here with us. So we're just gonna be taking it on and carrying on basically the rest of our show. And yeah, we still had like a lot of questions for Mert. And you know, just before we cut off, we were just talking about Helios's origin story and Mert's journey and how, you know, he's been championing Solana throughout, you know, through bull and bear, which is not an easy task, especially when everybody leaves and nobody believes in you. Just being, you know, that carrying that torch for everybody to see. You know, it's not an easy, it's quite a heavy burden, but then, you know, we're fast forwarding today and then Solana ETF is approved, right? So it's something special to be able to be early and believe in something that actually makes a change and carries the industry forward. I do have a question. Like we've been talking a lot about Solana, right? Like, but you are also, can we say, are you a KOL Max or Maxi, as a Zcash Maxi or KOL? What should we call you?
You can call me, I don't know. I don't know about the names. You can say crypto maxi in some sense. I like people being able to trade on the internet and also have privacy. So, you know, hopefully the ideals of what Bitcoin was supposed to be, but that scales to more people.
Right. It's actually Zcash 9's
Yeah, speaking of privacy.
birthday. Yeah, go for it there.
Oh, you go first.
Now I was saying, if you had to choose between Zcash and Solana today, what would you?
Yes, it is the 9th. Oh, well, it just depends on the job at hand, right? It's kind of like asking if you want like an F1 car or a motorcycle, and it's like, I guess you can kind of use them both in some sense, but generally speaking, you want the car when you're racing, and you want the motorcycle when you're, I don't know, at the hills of Capri or something in Italy or something, right? That is to say, the way to think about Zcash is like encrypted or secret Bitcoin, right? If you look at if you look at the Bitcoin Twitter, like literally the official Twitter, it says traceable digital gold, which I find very interesting wording. It's like, I don't want to be traced. I want my money to be private, please. And so Zcash is best thought of as like a store of value, you know, some secret stash that you have, and so that's trading terminal. So like what Netflix did to DVD, what Shopify did to storefronts, I think Solana does to markets, all sorts of markets, not just, you know, meme coins or stables or stocks, but like even things like uranium and gold are tradable on Solana. So hopefully, yeah, and even ZEC, right? Like I worked pretty hard to get Zcash on Solana in the past week, and now you can trade it. And so, you know, there'll be, the world will have a bunch of useful assets, and then Solana will be the place where you trade them.
Right. Is privacy
I think
really...
it's kind of funny that you said, oh, sorry. I was just going to ask, like, I think it's kind of funny that you're mentioning, I don't want to be traced, because yesterday you mentioned that, I guess Orb Orb beta launched, and this is basically where you're tracking, able to see the history of over 500, billion transactions on Solana, which to me almost feels like invasive. You know, people can see everything you're doing, which I guess has always been the case, but now it's easier than ever. Like, can you break this down? Like, what is the whole like issue that's been solved? You know, you're saying Solana's been changed forever. You know, what does this look like? What is RPC? Why does that matter? Yeah, would kind of like to understand what has just been unleashed on Solana.
Sure. Okay, a few things here. I'll start with the most non-technical and then maybe go a bit more technical. I mean, I think everybody probably knows what a block explorer is, like Etherscan, most people are familiar with, or SolScan. And one of the biggest differences between Solana and something like Ethereum is that Solana does more transactions, right? Everybody knows this. The TPS is higher, the throughput is higher. There's much more data, right? It's not like a free lunch that you get to just be much faster, but you don't get any downsides. One of the big downsides that you do get with something as powerful as Solana is that there's a lot of data. And when there's a lot of data, that means that it is harder to go through all of that data, right? So like one good example I think is kind of the internet and Google, right? Before Google existed, you would have millions of websites on the internet, but like the only way you'd be able to go to them is if you watched like a TV commercial back in the day and then they just told you the name of their website, right? Imagine a world where you can't actually type like some item or like some plane ticket that you're trying to book. Now it's very simple because ChatGPT and Google organize that data for you. But with Solana, that's not necessarily the case. There's a lot of data, and the way to search through it is very medieval, slow, and even things like, for example, if I want to look at my transaction from 2021, I actually can't do that unless the way this works is you have to look at your latest transaction from like 2025 and then keep clicking previous, and that might take hours depending on how many transactions you have. And so with this, we have two releases really. One is the engineering system that makes Solana data searchable and much faster to search. And then two is an explorer built on top of it called Orb, where it basically showcases with this data engine, what can you do now on Solana? And so we have things like, I used to joke that you actually don't need privacy on Solana because nobody can read the Explorer anyways. And that is not the case anymore. And we actually have new AI features where, if you see a random transaction where it says like a bunch of random letters and nobody knows what's going on, you can just say analyze with AI and it'll tell you like, so this is Mert, he made a swap on Jupiter for shitcoin 3 on this day, and he's also in debt. Like it'll tell you what you need to know about on-chain data.
I'm just trying to wrap around my head because
Sorry, I was
obviously
on mute.
we're like non-technical people. So what's the TLDR? Like if you can like just for really normie people that do not understand the technical, like what does it mean for Solana? It's just how is it improving? Just TLDR.
So it depends on who you are on Solana. If you're an everyday regular user, then two ways. One is that you now get a better block explorer. So instead of having to use things that you can't read, you're able to get a better block explorer and actually see what you've done on chain. This also helps a lot with taxes, in case you do not live in Dubai like me. And then it's really for developers and startups though. So now they're able to get much faster and much flexible data to surface to their users. So if you have like a DeFi position on some perps exchange and you don't know when you opened it, or it takes too long, or you don't know who else has the token and all this stuff, it'll help developers search the chain much faster.
Okay, thank you. That was a very that was a very good answer for us non-technical people, I guess. But I was wondering, like obviously Solana has evolved over the years. Like, what do you see? And you're participating in a lot of these, contests where you see a lot of founders and you're mentoring founders. Like, what's the kind of next gen Solana startup that you would like to see? Like, what are the products that you want to see on flourish and bring basically the ecosystem to the next step, because we're not where we used to be a couple of years ago, right?
Yes. Well, I have a few requests. One would be, obviously it's not a surprise that I'm trying to accelerate privacy to the extent possible. So one thing would be a fully vertically integrated, like specialized wallet for privacy, right? And that's just a better experience for everyday users as well, even if you don't need the privacy, because like once you start transacting on chain, even if you did not make a mistake today or something, 2 years down the road, when you're in a coffee shop in England or something, they can be like, oh yeah, we saw that you made a transaction we don't like 2 years ago, you're not allowed here, right? Like, these things seem theoretical, but they are not theoretical. They actually happen. This actually happened to Canadian truckers. So a privacy integrated wallet where like the user, it's like a VPN, right? Like a VPN except for your money. I think that's something I would use. I think I do want the ability to trade assets that are not just meme points. So like, you know, gold just had a huge run up. You know, with the exception of getting my girlfriend gold jewelry, I didn't really have exposure to the price action, and that was not very good because like the liquidity wasn't there on Solana. So I would like to trade, you know, gold, silver, uranium, wheat, oil, useful assets. And we're going to be building something for that soon, actually.
Are we going to be seeing Cartier bracelets on chain soon?
That is an interesting idea, actually. I don't see why not. I think some luxury watch brands already link it via NFTs on chain. Like, I don't know exactly what that does, but it happens. And it's not like weird chains like Algorand, but we'll see what we can do.
We definitely had a lot of luxury property. I actually used to work at Sotheby's auction house, and a lot of the luxury goods did have sort of digital twins on the blockchain, and especially if they had something physical they could be tied to. For example, there was some watch sketches that we had tied. So yeah, definitely really interesting concept for sure. I actually did want to ask you a question about, you know, OKX. You were saying that, you know, when you were working at Coinbase, like ETH was kind of considered that to be like the king chain. And I appreciate that you were still thinking about, you know, what else is out there, you know, exploring new chains. You found, you know, you got into Solana quite early. And I think OKX, one thing I really like about OKX is that we're also quite chain agnostic. We build for all chains, not like a one chain first, in-house chain first, if that makes sense. Supporting over 140 chains. And I've always kind of been a champion of Solana. And so I'm kind of curious from your perspective, you know, we have like our DEX aggregator, we support bridging to and from Solana from different chains. You know, how do you see OKX supporting the Solana ecosystem through a builder lens, and what do you think would be helpful to the ecosystem in terms of integrations and infrastructure?
Sure. I would say, so obviously through Helios, I also have a unique lens on this because almost everybody who builds on Solana is our customer, and OKX is one of them, as well as all the other major exchanges. And I mean, I don't necessarily care. I'm the CEO. I can just say whatever. I think like given all the customer chats with the exchanges, OKX is definitely pretty advanced, especially for an exchange in terms of thinking about how to build things and like the attention to detail. So like I can generally tell based on when people engage with us, okay, like what do they actually know? Is this actually a useful feature for their product, or is it a headliner? And OKX does do a lot of building. I have met with a few of the engineers, actually even in person. So good talent level. I do use the app as well. OKX is definitely one of the best ones in the UAE. In terms of what can be done, yeah, I mean, I guess you guys could add Orb when it's live for as an explorer, because I think it probably won't link to it today. And then, I mean, I feel like I had one problem one time, and then I tweet about it, and then like 20 people from OKX reached out, and it was solved within like a few hours.
I remember that. That was really
I
cool.
actually will say that's one thing also is like we have humans with customer support. If you ever need to get in touch with someone, whether it's on the Web3 side or on the exchange side. I'm curious, wait, so which app do you have? Do you have the exchange app, and do you also have our Web3 wallet?
I have the Web3 wallet on, yes, but I mainly
Super.
use the exchange just for obvious reasons. For wallets, I'm not a regular user. I have like 40 different wallets that I rotate around.
Do you trade meme coins? Are you like a trencher?
No, I have. I don't know. Maybe never, but almost never have traded any meme coins. And there was actually quite a few about me, which I guess I can't name without going to jail. But no, I generally, my investment thesis is pretty simple in crypto. Buy a lot of like one or two things that I think I can help in terms of constructing like an ecosystem, so that I feel that it's at least somewhat more within my realm of influence, and the input is like my effort, not that, because like for Bitcoin, for example, I do hold it, but it's like there's nothing I can do for Bitcoin. But for these smaller ones, I can actually help recruit talent, tell the story better, etc. And it's like a better incentive alignment.
What's like the number
So,
one?
Mert, you're really,
Sorry, I was gonna say
Mert, you're really known for your. Oh,
just one last thing. What's the number one advice you would give to a first-time founder?
Oh, advice.
Can be a top five.
First-time
Let's
founder.
make it easy.
Top 5. Well, okay. Number 1 is it's going to be way harder than you even think, even though you already think it's going to be hard. It's way worse than that. Trust me. Number 2 is don't listen to VCs, and especially don't listen to other founders like me. It's at least don't listen to them on general things. Ask them specific things. Like you might ask me about hair shaving or Solana, but don't ask me about B2B sales, right? Because my B2B sales might be different than your B2B sales. Be pretty delusionally confident, like you're supposed to. Because like if you weren't, then who's going to be, right? You're the leader. You have to kind of lead the way. Number 4 is going to be, and this is probably the most important one, is that you just have to be a very good communicator. It doesn't matter if you tell yourself, oh, I'm a technical person, oh, I'm an engineer, oh, I let my building do the talking. It's like, no, please. You need to sell. You need to sell to customers, obviously, but you need to sell to investors, and you need to sell to, probably most importantly, your people who are joining you on the team. You need to tell them, hey, this is why you should join me. This is the mission we're on, and this is why we're going to win. You need to sell to your family. You need to sell to your girlfriend or husband, whatever. Like, hey, I need to work today. I can't, do the thing. I have an important job here, etc. So you need to always be selling in some sense. And then the last one is just try to not follow trends. Like, for example, we started an RPC business, which at the time there was like like 3 RPC businesses, and everybody said this space is already won, and you should do like NFTs instead, or whatever the hot thing was. And RPCs are pretty unsexy. And for the listeners, RPC is literally the computer that lets you talk to the blockchain. Like it's how you send transactions or how you read data from the blockchain. But we did it anyway, when it was extremely unsexy, when all the VCs said, ha ha ha, this thing is stupid. And we did pretty well. So don't listen to too many other people. Think for yourself.
Thank you. That's super
Yeah.
useful.
Thank you for your thoughts. Wanted to ask you about some closing thoughts. You're known for your hot takes on Twitter, and you just said don't follow trends. I know that a trend is prediction markets right now, and you tweeted about how they're silly and how you just need Reddit. Could you just go a little bit about that, and then we can go for final closing thoughts after?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trolling there. I think they're probably interesting. I'm just the gist of that joke is that prediction markets are a way of, in theory, arriving at some truth, right? Like, because you used to be able to use them during the election season for having a good, confident estimate of like, this person is going to win this election, right? This is going to be president. So it's a good tool for predicting things. But another good tool for predicting things that's much simpler is just to go on Reddit and see what the people there are saying, and then just doing the opposite of what they're saying. And that generally also works out to do pretty well. And the joke there is that, you know, you've probably seen the meme where there's like a deformed person and then like a crying person and then like a person in a hoodie, like the mid-curve meme. It tends to be the case that mid-curves just say very obvious things that anybody else could also arise at, which means it's already priced in, which means everybody's already aware. And so you need to either be extremely stupid or extremely smart to arise at a thing that's different from the norm. And Reddit's like the machine for being a mid-curve. Like, okay, don't take this too personally if you use it, like it's just an app, you know, I don't need to get emotional about it, but I use it sometimes, but I would not rely on it for anything too useful.
It's great memes on there.
Makes sense.
Cool. Well, I know we're just about to wrap it up. Yeah, any closing thoughts, Mert? Thanks so much for joining the show, by the way. Again, it's so awesome to have you on. Yeah, any closing thoughts? I guess one question I did have, you know, you said that you found Solana early. You've been building there. You've been like one of the biggest voices for Solana. Is there a chain you'd be exploring right now otherwise that seems interesting to you outside of Solana? I mean, I guess you don't want to shout out any like Solana competitors necessarily, but you know, what else do you think is out there that, you know, looks quite interesting that you're excited about?
Oh, sure. I mean, I don't really care about the competitors too much because I want to compete with them. But
It's a
well,
healthy
okay,
thing for the ecosystem.
yeah, of course. Like, the politically correct thing is, oh, it's good for the user, but really it's just like it's fun. I kind of was getting boring a little bit for Solana. I would say, obviously, like no secret that I'm a big fan of Zcash. However, that is a very different type of blockchain. It's really just a dinosaur chain where all you need to do is encrypt your coins, hide your wealth, coin, whatever, right? In terms of like Solana-esque, the obvious answer is going to be Hyperliquid. It seems very impressive. There's a very good ecosystem there of talented folks, and I use the app, well, the app, not necessarily the chain, but the app pretty frequently. And I am impressed with them. And then I'm looking forward to how Monad does, because I have a lot of people there that are like good friends, but like they're friends because like I trust them and they're smart folks. So I am curious to see how they do. I hope they do well. I do think most L2s are extremely overrated. So not a huge fan of those, but I think Hyperliquid has a pretty big shot, and then same with Monad.
They're one of the leanest teams ever.
Also, well,
Yes.
yeah, there's a lot of really exciting things being built in the space, and yeah, congrats again on the orb beta. Yeah, really excited to look into it and stalk down some Solana transactions. I'm sure bubble maps would be all over that as well. Yeah, well, thanks again for coming on the show today. We really enjoyed chatting with you. You know, I hope you have a great rest of the week, and thanks also to the chat, everybody who tuning in. That's the beauty of being live, is sometimes we get cut, but we're back, and yeah, I appreciate you guys supporting us and tuning back in for the rest of the show. Yeah, I guess we can tune it out, but thank you so much again.
Thanks so much, guys. Great
Thank you.
conversation.
Thanks for having
Thanks
me.
for tuning in. Bye, everyone.